Hi everybody, Dr. John here with LifeSpa, Ayurveda, and today I want to talk about social media. You know, this experiment that they've been doing on our children with social media, finally the research is starting to come in. There's about 30 billion users of social media worldwide, and the studies are now showing that that has increased the risk of depression, anxiety, sleep deprivation, lack of self-esteem, bullying, body dysmorphia or dissatisfaction, and even suicide for those who are using social media. In 1990, about 81 million people worldwide complained of a mental health concern. In 2019, that number increased by over 30%, 125 million. The U.S. Surgeon General actually put out a report, and they said that 95% of teenagers are using social media, 95%. 40% of children between 8 and 12 are using social media. But they actually cannot say whether or not social media is safe for your children, or even for you, for that matter. But they do put out a Surgeon General advisory for parents to look at and read. And although they won't say social media is unsafe, here's what they put in their advisory. 46% of teenagers feel worse when they're using social media. 64% of teenagers are often exposed to hate on social media. Social media literally shows you how to do self-harm and how to commit suicide. 1 in 3 teens using social media are up after midnight using social media. Studies show that increased use of social media is directly related to a decreased sleep quality and decreased sleep quantity, duration, and even causes depression. And 1/3 of girls between 11 and 15 say that they're addicted to social media. Now, we also know that social media is a cell phone which puts out blue light. And many of these kids are lying in bed looking at their phones and staying up late at night into the blue light. And there's just no shortage of studies showing that blue light blocks your melatonin production. And melatonin has been shown to be a powerful anti-anxiety agent. In fact, one study showed in a group of people with pre-surgical anxiety, one group got the melatonin, the other group got an anti-anxiety medication. And the melatonin worked just as well as the medication for pre-surgical anxiety. I wrote an article a while back showing the difference between what a circadian imbalance looks like, where your biological clocks and your circadian rhythms are out of balance, and what a deficiency of melatonin looks like. And, you know, the short answer is that it's all about your mental health. Many, many other imbalances occur, but the lack of the ability to stay calm, handle stress, depressed, not sleeping well, all these things are directly linked to the use of social media, which is directly linked to the inability to sleep. We have 6 children. My oldest is like 35, 36 now. My youngest is 19. So the earlier ones didn't have that big impact of social media, but the second half of them did. And I interviewed my kids. I wrote an article on my website, lifespa.com, about social media, some of the newest and latest research, and I interviewed my children. And my 14-year-old girl, who was the youngest at the time, she actually wrote a blog telling us her experience with social media. And it was really an amazing thing, and I invite you to read this. She's now 19, now in college, and she was going to Africa. My oldest daughter was the director of a foundation in Africa where they did pen pal relationships with kids here in Colorado and kids in schools in Uganda. And they would create these connections, and the kids would generate money and funds and, you know, bake sales and things to make money for these children. And it was a really beautiful thing. So my daughter, who was 14, went with my older daughter to Africa. But on the way to the airport, she forgot her cell phone, of course, which was a big deal. But when she was completely distressed about it, of course, but when she actually got to Africa, in short order, she completely forgot about her cell phone. And she wrote a blog about her experience with and without the cell phone, and watching the kids in Uganda who didn't have anything else, no social media, no TV, no nothing really, except they had each other, and how happy and constantly happy they were, and how here, where she was in middle school and high school, everybody was so miserable, and there was so much mental health and anxiety and worry, and on social you had to be perfect, but she knew that no one was really perfect. She felt compelled to post because if she didn't, she was not relevant, and that was supposed to make her happy, but it never did. And she wrote this really beautiful little essay blog. It's on my website, LifeSpa.com, if you want to read it. And I think the bottom line that she wrote about that I thought was so beautiful is like Snapchat, which is what they were all into back then. It's really just about pictures of your body. And she goes, it's just your body. And that's not, and she wrote this at 14 years old. I thought it was pretty cool. It doesn't show anything about your heart. You can't make connections really with your body. You make connections with your heart, which you can't do on social media when you're only taking a picture of your body. Where in Africa, it was all about connections with the heart, personal relationships, which we so desperately lack. So if you're watching this on YouTube, or please subscribe and like what we're putting out. And also, if you're watching on my website, LifeSpa.com, subscribe to our newsletter and get that information regularly on every week. It's all about ancient medical wisdom and modern science. And while you're there, check out our Ayurvedic store where all of our Ayurvedic herbs, skincare products are available as well. Thanks for listening. I'm Dr. John Douillard. Do you like this video? Don't forget to subscribe and share.
This recording is brought to you by LifeSpa, where ancient Ayurvedic wisdom meets modern science. Get access to free health video newsletters by Dr. John at LifeSpa.com. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.